Hey, it's Liz from No Trace, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a beeswax or a vegan wax wrap pouch using a wax wrap that you have already. I'm going to show you two different ways to make one of these pouches. They both sew up really quickly and are super fun and easy to make. One of the great things about a wax wrap pouch is that it's a reusable alternative to a Ziploc bag, and you can put your wet snacks in here like carrot sticks or grapes or cheese slices. So it holds up really well to moisture, and it'll keep the inside of your lunch bag dry and keep all of the moisture and freshness inside. Now stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to be giving these away to a viewer. So watch till the end so you can enter to win one of these pouches. You can make your wax wrap pouch in any size that you want, and you can do it in a lot of different ways. If you have two smaller wax wraps that you want to sew together, that is one way to do it. And for a snack size, I would recommend a width of about 5 inches and a height of maybe 6 or 7 inches. But you could make it smaller or make it even bigger. If you wanted to do more of a sandwich size pouch, you'd probably want wraps that are at least 8 inches wide so that you have more room to get a sandwich in there, and you probably want a little more height to hold your sandwich. So like I said, you can put together two smaller wax wraps. You could also use one long wax wrap, and that I got by cutting a big wax wrap in half. So it's really easy to cut a wax wrap down to a different size if you want to sew it into a pouch. I do recommend cutting with pinking shears if you have them. So these have the little ridged edges, and that prevents the threads from fraying on your pouch as you use it. I'm going to show you two ways to do a pouch, and the first way is the absolute simplest way. So just take two smaller wax wraps that are about the same size and put them with the wrong sides facing. So you can kind of tell that one side shows more of the print and the other side is a little bit more faded. So you want the more faded sides facing each other, and then you're just going to stitch around 3 sides. So I'm going to stitch these together with the wrong sides facing using about a 3/8 inch seam allowance. And make sure to do a back stitch at the start and the stop. So now that I've stitched around 3 sides, leaving the top open, this little pouch is done. So you just load it up with snacks, and then when you want to tote it, you just fold it down like that. The other way to make a pouch is with a longer continuous piece of beeswax wrap, and the way you'll want to do this style is to bring up the bottom so that you still have about 2 inches of flap on the top, and then you want to stitch down this side and stitch down this side, but leave this flap loose. And I'm going to stitch it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to make sure to do a back stitch at the start and the stop of each side. Alright, so that side's done, and now I'm going to go ahead and stitch the other side. Now after both sides are stitched, I'm just going to trim off the loose threads. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew a button onto the flap part of this pouch. And not only is there going to be a button there, but there's also going to be some hemp twine underneath the button to help me close up this pouch when it's got some goodies inside of it. Now you could attach your button using your sewing machine. If you were going to make a bunch of these, which I plan to do, you'll probably want to set up your sewing machine to attach the button. And basically you put your sewing machine on a zigzag stitch that's the same width as your buttonholes, and you lower the feed dogs on your sewing machine, and that will allow you to stitch back and forth into those 2 holes over and over again. So that's pretty easy to do, but the easiest thing to do is to hand sew. So I've just got a needle and thread, and I'm going to just sort of center this button. I'm kind of eyeballing where the center of this flap is. You could measure it, but I think you can eyeball it just fine. And now I'm going to get my needle through the hole, just 1 hole to start, and then I'm going to get the twine and get that underneath the button, okay? So the twine is under the button, and I'm going to keep stitching the button on and sort of locking that twine in place. So I'm just going to stitch in and out of these buttonholes a handful of times. So after I've stitched through the buttonhole several times, I'm going to make a knot in the back just by going back under my stitches with the needle and then catching the thread in a loop and pulling it nice and tight, and just do that 1 more time to really secure that button in place. Okay, and then we're going to trim these loose threads. Now we're almost done, but this twine will probably slide right out of that button if we're not careful. So what I'm going to do is put a knot in the top of the twine. Just a super simple knot. And now it's not going to come through unless you really force it. To use this little pouch, all you got to do is open your flap and fill it up with your grapes, your cucumber slices, carrot sticks, whatever you want. Then just close it and wrap the twine around the pouch, and then wrap the twine around the button a couple of times, and then it should be pretty secure. The amount of twine that you need will depend on how big your pouch is. So I would say make sure it wraps around the pouch to the button a couple times around the button, and then gives you maybe 1 inch or 2 of extra length, and that should be plenty. So we can cut it right here. So now this pouch is done too. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you get out there and make a whole bunch of beeswax or vegan wax wraps pouches for yourself and for your loved ones. Now, in order to win one of these pouches, all you have to do is like this video and leave me a comment below and tell me what sewing project you're working on, or what sewing project do you want to get started on next. And I'm going to pick 2 random commenters to ship these to. So you have to be in the US so that I can ship this to you affordably. Thanks so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the No Trace channel so that you get notified every time we put out a new video. Every Wednesday we put out a new video on zero waste sewing tips and zero waste living tips. So we'll see you again very soon. Thanks.